You send someone a message, something you actually thought about. Maybe you reread it twice before hitting send, and they reply with one word, lol. That's it. No period, no emoji, just lol. And now you're sitting there, phone in hand, doing something you didn't even choose to do. You're trying to translate 3 letters into an entire emotional state. Are they laughing? Are they bored? Did you say something weird? Is this good lol or bad lol? You didn't ask for this job, but here you are, working it anyway. If you've ever stared at a text that short and felt that confused, I want you to know something right away. You're not overreacting. You're not too much. Your brain is actually doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's just doing it with almost no information to work with. And today, we're going to break that down. Not just lol, but what's actually happening in your head every time a text feels bigger than the words in it. Let's start with the obvious question. Why does lol feel like it needs decoding in the first place? It's 4 letters. It used to mean something simple. Laughing out loud, that's it. Nobody's actually laughing out loud when they type it anymore, and somewhere along the way it stopped being an emotion and became something else entirely, a placeholder, a way to end a conversation without actually ending it, a way to respond without really responding. Here's the thing about placeholders, though. Your brain hates them. It's not built to sit in ambiguity comfortably. When someone gives you a clear reaction, a real sentence, an exclamation point, a question back, your brain has something to work with. It can relax, but lol gives it almost nothing. No tone, no punctuation, no follow-up. So your brain does what it always does when it doesn't have enough information. It starts filling in the blanks itself, usually with whatever emotional state you're already carrying into the conversation. This is actually the first thing worth understanding. The meaning you're finding in lol often has less to do with the person who sent it, and more to do with what you were already feeling before it arrived. If you were already a little anxious about how things were going, lol reads as distant. If you were already feeling good, that same lol reads as playful. Same 3 letters, completely different meaning, depending entirely on the mood you brought into the conversation. I want to walk you through a few different lol moments, because they don't all mean the same thing, even though they all feel identical to receive. First one, you send a long message. Something with actual thought in it. Maybe you're explaining why you're nervous about something or telling a longer story. And the reply comes back. Lol, yeah. Here's what's actually happening most of the time. This isn't dismissiveness. It's usually someone who doesn't know how to match the emotional weight of what you sent, so they default to something light, because heavy feels risky to respond to. It's not that your message didn't land. It's that they don't have the words ready, so they reached for the easiest ones. Second one. You send something a little flirty, testing the water. Lol, you're ridiculous. This one actually is often a good sign, and here's why. Pair the lol with the follow-up phrase and pay attention to what comes with it, not just the LOL by itself. Lol followed by continued engagement, more messages, more questions. That's playful energy. The lol isn't the message. It's just the punctuation on the message that comes after it. Third one. And this is the one that actually causes the most damage to how people feel. You send something that took effort, and the reply is just lol. Nothing else. No follow-up question, no continuation. The conversation just kind of stops there. This is usually the version that actually is a distance signal, not because lol is inherently bad, but because it arrived completely alone, without anything attached to keep the conversation moving. The absence of continuation is doing more communicating than the word itself. So here's the pattern worth noticing. It was never really about the word lol. It's about what surrounds it, or doesn't. A short reply followed by more effort usually means something different than a short reply followed by silence. You've probably known this on some level already, but when you're in the moment, staring at your screen, that instinct gets buried under anxiety, and the 3 letters start feeling like the whole verdict instead of one piece of a bigger picture. Now here's something worth sitting with for a second. Why does this bother us so much in the first place? Why does one ambiguous word from someone we're texting have the power to derail an entire afternoon? Part of it comes down to something psychologists call uncertainty intolerance. Basically, humans don't do well sitting in "I don't know." Certainty, even bad certainty, feels more manageable to your brain than genuine ambiguity. If someone texted back, "I'm actually annoyed with you," that would sting, but at least you'd know where you stand. Lol gives you nothing to stand on. And your brain, uncomfortable with that emptiness, starts building a story just to have something solid to hold on to, even if that story is worse than the truth. I used to think overanalyzing texts meant something was wrong with me, like I was the only one turning 3 letters into a full investigation. Turns out, that's just what an uncertain brain does when it's given almost no information and told to make sense of it anyway. It's not a personal flaw. It's a very normal response to a genuinely ambiguous situation. Here's something else worth knowing. Texting strips out almost everything your brain actually relies on to read another person. Tone of voice, facial expression, timing that you can actually see happening instead of just a gap you're left guessing about. In person, lol said out loud with a specific tone, in a specific context, would tell you everything you needed to know instantly. On a screen, all of that gets deleted, and you're left reconstructing an entire emotional read from 4 letters and a guess. So what do you actually do with all of this? Honestly, the answer isn't to stop caring about tone in texts completely. Tone matters, connection matters, and it's okay to notice when something feels off. The real shift is this. Stop treating a single word as the full message. Look at the pattern around it instead. Is the conversation continuing or stalling? Is there more effort building or less? A lol with 3 follow-up messages is not the same conversation as a lol that ends everything cold. The 3 letters are doing far less work than the silence or the momentum around them. And if you do get the version that actually is cold, the one that arrives alone and stays alone, you don't need to send 5 more messages trying to reverse engineer what happened. That impulse, the one that wants to fix the ambiguity immediately, is usually your discomfort talking, not an actual strategy. Sometimes the most accurate read of a short, standalone reply is simply that the other person wasn't that invested in continuing right then. That's allowed to just be true without you needing to solve it. If you've spent hours of your life turning 3 letters into an entire emotional investigation, I don't want you to feel embarrassed about that. It means you're someone who pays attention, who cares about the small details of how people treat you. That's not a flaw to fix. It's just a setting that occasionally needs recalibrating, especially in a medium as stripped down as texting. So here's what I'd leave you with. The next time you get a lol that sends your mind spinning, pause before you start building the story. Look at what's around it. Look at what happens next. And remember, most of the time the person on the other end typed those 3 letters in about half a second, without any of the analysis you're about to do on their behalf. Because the truth is, most texts aren't a puzzle written by someone trying to send you a hidden message. They're just quick, imperfect attempts at connection, sent by people who are, more often than not, thinking about it far less than you are right now.